Here's just St. Louis City and County. It peaked in 1970. It's fallen steadily as the region is spread out. Of course, St. Charles has grown a lot. Even if you add St. Charles, it's pretty much flat for the last 45 years. If you look at the assessed value of the entire school districts over the last 5 years, it's down just about everywhere. And if you took into account inflation, only one of them would have been up. This is a huge problem, and I think the fragmentation is distracting us from the bigger issues here. Another way in which fragmentation negatively impacts us, I think, is each fragment allows us to leverage each other's assets while avoiding each other's problems. All the blue roads are county-maintained roads. All the roads with the numbered symbol are state-maintained roads, but the city is leveraging them to funnel sales tax to themselves. So they're trying to bring in people from outside the town to help fund the town. So their policy statement is, we want to raise more revenue from sales taxes. Well, that implies that you're expecting people to come into the town and shop. All our cities can't win at that game. The other side of that same coin is the traffic ticket and fine situation. So now I'm going to go up here to the most fragmented part of our region. And as you can see, there's lots of county and state maintained roads here. And whereas the other towns are hoping shoppers will come in to buy stuff and get sales taxes, here they ticket people traveling through their town. And we do it in other ways too. We do it in labor markets where we expect someone to ride a bus for an hour and a half to work in one of those big stores, make very much, but then not reap the benefit of living in a town with good services and a good school and all that. And we also do it in the drug trade, right? A lot of people drive into neighborhoods, buy their narcotics, go home, and all the collateral damage is focused in just a few places. I took the assessed value of the property and divided it by its land area. As you can see, there is a very much productive land use here. And if you look at the revenue sources, you can see, they don't get a lot of property taxes, but what they do is they use the traffic tickets and fines to fill their budget. So that's why I nicknamed him the Sarlacc of I-170. Sarlacc's the monster in Return of the Jedi. Kirkwood's doing well, right? If I put the leaders of Kirkwood in charge of Sarlacc, could they turn it around? I submit no. You could not raise property taxes enough to come anywhere close to making up for those traffic tickets and fines. I think it's impossible for the town of Sarlacc to provide a proper amount of municipal services and maintain their infrastructure. To me, it's not a leadership problem. It's not a local policy problem. It's a math problem. You might say, hey, Kirkwood's a rich area. It is. But Maplewood, their median income is much less than Kirkwood, but they have a tremendously productive downtown. So it can be done. You don't necessarily have to be super wealthy to have a productive city. I'm just going to bring up Oklahoma City. So it's got 600 square miles and over 600,000 people. And somehow, a mayor and 8 aldermen are able to govern this unwieldy thing. These people aren't Superman, and women. They didn't go to some special college on how to run a big government. Can we have a unified government? Yes, we can. Yeah, let's just have one big city, right? It could, have any myriad structure, a strong mayor with a council or city manager. St. Louis had as much land area as Kansas City. Well, we'd have over 1 million people. We could just do Beltway City, everything inside 270. There's the borough idea that the McNary's presented. Education is so important. Why don't we have municipalities that line up with the school districts so that they work together? A great example of the conflict there is in Shrewsbury. They passed a TIF for a new Walmart on Watson. Conveniently, that is in the Afton School District. Most of the people who live in Shrewsbury are in Webster Groves School District. Despite all these subsidies, the number of retail jobs is the same as it was in 1990. We need to take a more regional perspective with these subsidies. Otherwise, it's a tremendous misallocation of them, and the job numbers prove it. And with the decline in taxable sales, it's simply the wrong area. To me, retail is a result of economic development. It's not economic development in itself. When other parts of the economy are creating jobs and wealth, then people have that money to suspended retail establishments. All the previous attempts have usually been top down from the elites in our community. They would craft a plan that they thought was probably good and then try to sell it, and that hasn't worked. What we endeavored to do is to try to hear from you, see what you all want, what you're up for, so that when we try to put something on the ballot, it has a very good chance of happening.
Can you see a metropolitan school district?
What I could say is that fragmentation is coming at an opportunity cost that we could be applying to our school districts.
If we do have reform with the actual underlying infrastructure, which is essentially all these borders, and get some TIF oversight, it does help address the education issue, but again, we're not a silver bullet solution. This just allows us to actually work on our problems together. We don't work together presently.
Whoever is an advocate for this has gotten the ballot initiative certified in advance, and in a nutshell it says the city is going to be a municipality inside of St. Louis County.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get signatures all across the state, and then it goes on a ballot, and then the entire state actually
Right.
votes on it.
That's right.
Much like how we regain control of the St. Louis Police Department.
True.
And I think I agree with it 100% because we end up, if we can sell it or run a campaign across the entire state, a lot of people are voting on that who aren't protecting any turf because they don't live in St. Louis City or County.
I believe St. Louis is the largest economy in the state of Missouri, so what we do affects the rest of the state. The way we're perceived is oftentimes how Missouri can be perceived as well. Ferguson and the way St. Louis look, that affects all of us together.
I put a bit of doom and gloom in here. There are great things happening here. We need to change our story so that that's what people are seeing around the country. There's a lot of great here.
What is it about this effort it's been around for a long time? Why has it struggled to be successful in the past, and how can we counter those obstacles?
A lot's changed in the last 50 years. There's Voting Rights Act, 18-year-olds can vote, generations have turned over, the economy's changed, we have so much more data, and really awareness is at an all-time high.
The real opposition will come from people that this benefits, and likely that will be elected officials, and we're willing to work with them, but that's only as far as they don't put their self-interest over that of their constituents.
If the conversation ends at the door, nobody wins. We're going to end up like every other effort that's been done before, where people say, oh yeah, I remember that, and nothing happened. I think Richard stated a great case for why what we have today doesn't work and can't work. And so I encourage you to stay engaged with what Better Together is doing, what St. Louis Strong is doing. I was going to go STL. STL Strong is doing, so that you can be a part of this conversation and that you can bring more people into this conversation. So that when we go for a vote, or when there's something on the ballot, when we have a proposal, it is reflective of the will of the people in this region, and it is going to pass overwhelmingly. We need to change our structure so that we can be the best St. Louis we can be. We need a government that's worthy of our people.